Ready for the second problem? This problem is also more about logic and critical thinking skills rather than formulation or techniques. Here we go. An insurance company surveyed 150 drivers. The survey showed 115 drivers had no accident at least 1 year. 46 had at least one traffic violation this past year, and 21 drivers surveyed had at least one violation and an accident this past year. Answer the following questions. Drawing a Venn diagram will help. This time, unlike the previous problem, I didn't give you the outline of the Venn diagram. So how many circles do you draw? That's up to you. 2 circles, 3 circles, or 4 circles, whatever. But in any case, drawing a Venn diagram will help. 2.1. If a driver is selected at random, what is the probability that the selected driver had no violation and no accident this past year? If a driver is selected at random, what is the probability that he or she had no traffic violation this past year but had an accident? Either case, drawing a Venn diagram will help. But how do you draw those? Okay, here's a hint. I'll give you a hint and 2 suggestions from that hint. Now, how many circles? No accident, at least a traffic violation, had an accident. So are we talking about 3 events? Let's see, no accident, traffic violation, the same as before, had an accident. 3 circles? No, not really. No accident and had an accident. Those 2 are complement events. So they are not separate circles. If you draw 1 circle for no accident, the accident will simply go outside that circle, and vice versa. If you draw 1 circle for accident, no accident will go outside. In short, we are going to get this kind of Venn diagram. E for first event, F for second event, E intersection F, E and F basically, and outside neither E nor F. That's going to be the complete Venn diagram. Now, what is E and what is F? Let me copy this problem set here tentatively. One idea is getting N for no accident for this blue circle E and V for violation for this red circle F. Instead of events E and F, consider N and V. N will correspond to no accident, 115 drivers with no accident. This V will correspond to 46 drivers with at least one traffic violation. The question is, where do we put 21? At least one violation and an accident. Where do we put 21? That's the question here. The second idea is A for accident in place of this blue circle E, and V for violation for this red circle V, F. So blue is A, not N this time, and F is V. This time, the location of 21 is relatively straightforward. Had at least one violation and an accident. So inside V, inside red, and inside A, inside blue, this E is A. So 21 goes inside. But will that make the problem easier? Think about that. Well, I hoped you had enough thinking. Maybe you should have paused. Let's go. Okay, let me copy and paste this problem set here, post it over here, and this, and I don't need this anymore. And this Venn diagram that you're looking at summarizes the first idea. N for no accident, V for violation. N for no accident, V for violation. See, 115 drivers had no accident. 115 with no accident. 46 had at least one traffic violation. 46 with violation. So we have this blue number and red number corresponding to blue circle N and red circle V. The question is, where do we put 21? 21 drivers surveyed had at least one violation and accident. We have these 4 question marked regions. One of them will be 21, and from that you have to find out the others by appropriate addition or subtraction. Any idea? Good luck. Here is the second idea. Again, let me copy and paste the problem set. This time, A for accident and V for violation. A for accident, V for violation. And let's see, 21 drivers had a violation and accident, so that's easy. Violation and an accident, that goes to the intersection. That's easy. But then again, there is a trade-off. 46 had at least one traffic violation over here, alright, but how many had an accident? Well, that's something to think about. And which one is better? I want you to make your own decision. Before terminating this video, let me summarize this idea here. Let me summarize these 2 suggestions here and make your choice. You do not have to consider both of them. I'm showing you both because I'm the teacher and I have to cover both ideas, but you don't have to. Choose one idea that may be more helpful to you, that may be easier for you. There may be other suggestions, by the way. If you feel more comfortable with those, you can go to that path as well. But my suggestions are based heavily upon Venn diagram because I want not just formulation and memorizing formulas and just plugging in, which doesn't really work whenever other people tweak the problem just a little bit. But my preference is to work with Venn diagram, which works really in a wide variety of situations. Here are 2 ideas put together. And for no accident, V for violation. And here is a summary of hint. And A for accident, V for violation. This is a summary of hints about the second idea. We'll talk about the solution of this problem in a separate video.